Hi, my name is Jeff, and I'm recovering from global destruction. Today we're going to take a look at the second step of Global Destroyers Anonymous, came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. In the last video, we looked at the state of the Earth. It's really brutal. It's expected that 3/4 of the species are going to be extinct in 3 generations, and also that there's already some of the major commercial fisheries are collapsing, and it's expected that by 2050, all of the major commercial fisheries will be collapsed, which is less than 10%. It's just almost unfathomable. So what we've seen in the past is that working the steps heals other addictions. What I've seen in myself is that my addiction to engaging in global destruction is just, I feel like somebody with late-stage alcoholism, just saying, oh, just one more drink is going to fix it, just one more plastics, just one more tank full of gas, and somebody else will solve it. Well, what are you going to do? Everybody else is doing it. And it's just denial, and it's just rationalizations. So I've been working the steps around it, and it's helping tremendously. There's other 12-step programs like that help with under-earning, that help with not debting and spending, that help with not being in a work addiction. In compiling those tools in Global Destroyers Anonymous, I see that I can do work that's fulfilling and meaningful and be paid amply and abundantly, and that I can be free from doing any work that's destructive. So these are all possible. And so what I've done was I shifted. I started looking at deconstructing what's happening. And I came back from the Amazon, and my thinking mind was telling me I better go get this job for money to do things. And it's a job I like and a job I'm good at, but it didn't feel right. What felt right in my heart was to do what's in front of me, which is environmental work. When I look at what's most important, what's most pressing, it's clearly the environment. This trajectory, it's going to be absolutely brutal. And so I'm working the steps around that and sharing that with other people. And so during this process, what happened was I had to leave the place I was at, the place I was living. And I was looking for another place, and I couldn't find one that was affordable. I'm not living on a lot of funds right now as I'm in this transition. And my mind kept telling me, I better go get this job and make money. I better get this job and make money. And I just kept dropping into my heart. What feels right? What feels like the right next thing? What's most important? And it was continuing on the environmental work and doing what I was doing. I'm around some mosquitoes and ants, which is okay. It's part of life. So I'll be doing this. So during this process, it was really painful. I found a living situation that was really difficult to live in, very difficult. And while my head mind is telling me I better go make money, I just stayed with working the steps, and I stayed focused on it. And what happened then was a friend called and said, hey, I know somebody who has a room, and it was somebody I already knew, and we have this great connection. And he's on a really similar trajectory that I am. And we both are looking and feeling as closely as possible at what's happening to the earth, and we're trying to live to the best of our ability in this new way that's in respect and harmony with the earth. And it feels good. It's in integrity. We have conversations about what's really happening. We brainstorm. And it's incredible. So instead of being in a way where I'm doing something that doesn't feel right, engaging in global destruction more by not being in my heart, I'm connected to somebody, and we're both working on common things. We have permaculture projects in the backyard with medicinal and other edible plants. He's doing some organizing, I'm doing some organizing. And so along with this, we've drawn from other tools from other 12-step programs that I was mentioning. And so I met with 2 other members, 2 other people that are into ecological recovery, and we started looking at, okay, here's my plastic use, here's my gas use, here's other things. I'm buying shirts that are from sweatshop labor and made with toxic dyes and chemicals. And the cotton is horrible for the earth, the way it's made conventionally. And so we looked at all of it. No shame, no guilt. Let's bring awareness to what these patterns are. Let's invite a higher power in. That's different for everybody. That could be infinite intelligence. That could be the group is a higher power. It could be higher consciousness. But I have a friend who says the great, not I. So it's that alone I seem to be engaging in a lot of global destruction, and with other people in community in a higher power, I can be freed. And that's been true. So we started to look at it. And what can I do? And we started breaking down solutions. We're composting as much as possible, and there's other things we can do. We can turn the water. We're already using good cleaners, but we can use even more biodegradable cleaners and have the wastewater from the shower and from the kitchen go out into the yard. And what came up was food is a lot. Gas for a car or a bus to go to the grocery store. It's in plastics. Regular farming is usually really bad for the environment. It depletes topsoil. And once that topsoil is gone, it's painful. And we've depleted so much of the topsoil already. And so one of the solutions was to go to a farmer's market. And I said, but I've done that, and sometimes the food is from other farms, and isn't that the same as just me going to a grocery store? And I don't really know what's going on. Anyway, with that, I don't know how good it is, if it's not clearly organic, they say it is. And the suggestion was to get to know the farmers and really find out who's doing good work in the community. And the fascinating part of that is I balked, and I was like, I don't want to, and that seems like a lot of work, and kind of playfully and darkly poking some fun at this is that we're talking about, I'm part of a species where a lot of species, or some of us, are engaging at destruction at a level where we're on the path to destroying complex life on Earth. We're on a path to destroy complex life on Earth. And you'll see my thinking slowed down and I dropped more into my body. It's a lot to be present with being part of a species where I'm a part of engaging in this process where I'm destroying complex life on the Earth. Science is telling us clearly, past this tipping point, the Earth can no longer regulate its temperature and it can no longer maintain complex life with wild fluctuations. And also the extinction that we're doing even without that occurring. So here I'm presented with a valid solution that would take some of my time and energy, and I say, but I don't want to do that. And so the thinking is insane. I mean, it's literally just insane. And what I love about 12-step is I can see that, I can witness it, I don't have to judge it, and I can make an appeal to higher intelligence. Please help me do the right thing. And so we went through these solutions, and it was about being in community, doing the right thing with my backyard, with my cleaners, with the water, with the compost, growing food, knowing the farmers, maybe participating. If it seems expensive for the farmer's market, how can I barter or exchange or work on the farm? These are all valid solutions. They're extremely valid solutions. And people will say in 12-step, well, the disease, meaning the addiction, the disease tells me it needs to be a huge global solution. The politicians will fix it. Somebody else will do it. And the fact of the matter is, my behavior and the collective I is part of what's causing the 6th largest extinction on the Earth. Taking full responsibility for my part in that, being fully accountable. So it's not like I keep doing exactly what I'm doing, but I send in a $20 donation, or I turn the lights off when I leave the room. That's the disease telling me nothing really needs to change. And why should it change anyway? Everybody else is doing that. I'll wait till they make a shift. It's insane. What I know beyond a shadow of a doubt is that Global Destroyers Anonymous program, my recovery, my environmental recovery, isn't contingent upon anybody else doing anything. I can be free from global destruction today, right now, as we speak. And it's becoming more and more apparent in my life. Way less plastics. The gas use is way down. I'm riding my bike all over. I'm figuring out solutions. I'm meeting people I really connect with who are doing the same thing. And it feels good. It feels alive. It feels nourishing. It feels thriving. It's part of the flow of life. The other way, it's deadening. I'm sealing myself off. The head mind, well, I better do this work. I better try to get this pay. It's deadening. And I can meet my needs while still being fully in integrity with the earth and the animals. And it's working. And so we have these solutions. And I was talking with my roommate afterwards, and I enjoy our conversations a ton. And we were talking about how I said, things are manifesting faster and faster in my life. I'm getting clearer, and I have the intention in the manifestation. It's coming in. And he said, thought about it, and he said, That's interesting. That's happening to me too. And what's interesting is that since it's happening faster, what I really need to do is slow down and be intentional with my thinking, with my thoughts, with my actions, with my behaviors. What am I creating? And I love that. And I said, yeah, I'm so tired of talk of more gross domestic product, higher, all of it, more production, more this, more science will cure this, science will fix this, just expansion, endless expansion. We're going to just expand over everything. And he said, well, in a way, it's still about expansion. And it's about expansion in consciousness. We don't need to expand out and create more destructive minds or more toxic things for the earth or higher production. It's about expanded consciousness. And what's really beautiful about this is that, again, the head mind tells me it's huge solutions, it's out there, there's nothing I can do. If I make a small change, what difference does it make? And that's denial, and that's a lie. And so the answer for me has been community, working the steps, slowing down. How's my meditation? How's my yoga? How's my backyard? What am I doing with my water and compost? And it feels really good. It feels really good. And what he also said was he knew that I had spent almost 5 years in the Amazon apprenticing with a shaman there, an indigenous shaman. And he said, you talked about all this stuff in the state of the earth, all this destruction and pain. Could you share with people the hope, the healing that you've experienced? And that made sense. And so when I was working with this shaman, at one point it was just him and his wife and me, and he would bring me into stuff that was unbelievably painful, things that I grew up with that were unbelievably painful and had been just there. I couldn't get rid of it. And then he would shift some things, and I would be dissolving in infinite love light. And I'm not talking in metaphor or flowery language, like I'm dissolving in love light. He brings me back into the painful experience, just like I'm there. And then I'm dissolving in love light, and back and forth, and back and forth. And while I was in the love light, I experienced that all things arise and fall from this love light. And the thought popped in my mind, if that's true, how does this pain exist? And the answer was obvious, it didn't. That the pain never existed. That in the mind of infinite intelligence, the pain was just a phantom, kind of, and it was cleared. And what's important about this, one of the things, is that I have had incredible freedom from that, and that was years ago. That was 5 years ago. And so these miracles happen all the time, and in 12-step, miracles are just a part of it. And there's a saying, expect a miracle, because somebody who's drinking themselves to death or $300,000 in debt or working themselves to death or under-earning, they come into these programs and they can have phenomenal recovery. So I've experienced, I know so many people, and I had a psychotherapy practice and worked with a lot of people in recovery, that these miracles happen all the time. And Bill Wilson, one of the co-founders of AA, is having a conversation with somebody, and they're talking about this, and he said it's a miracle, but it's a miracle that requires cultivation. It's a miracle that requires cultivation. The essence of this is that this freedom, this miracle is available to anybody. And I work the steps. Personally, I've been working the steps of Global Destroyers Anonymous, but I'm working the steps around environmental destruction and my role in that. I meet with people in community and we talk about what I'm doing and we come up with simple solutions. And I ask the universe to help me make deep structural shifts in how I spend money and who I hang out with and what I do, in my relationship with the earth, my relationship with water and compost, in my neighborhood, in my backyard, with the farmers who grow food. And it's working. And it's working. And I'm meeting the most wonderful network of people who see these things and are making these changes. Now, when I was in the old behavior and I was stuck in the old behavior, I was around people that were doing the same thing. It's like attracts like, and we're all saying, well, what are you going to do? And it's the system, and oh, wow, it looks like we're all going to die this way. That's insane. And so I shift myself, and I've been focusing on the microcosm. What am I doing here? And as I shift this microcosm, the external shift, and it's working very well. And so letting go of that addiction that says it has to be huge and it has to be big, I start with what's in front of me. What's in front of me? And there's a prayer by David White, poet David White, and another friend who just sent out, an environmentalist friend, and it's beautiful. And so I'm going to read the beginning of that, and it's start close in. Start close in. Don't take the second step or the third. Start with the first thing, close in, the step you don't want to take. Start close in. Don't take the second step or the third. Start with the first thing, close in, the step you do not want to take. I love that because it's that easy. You say simple but not easy, but in a sense it is that easy. It's just right here. What's the next thing? And I would also think maybe it's not the step I don't want to take, but if it was easy, I would have already taken it. So what's that thing I know I should be doing that my head mind tells me I can't do? Because honestly, I want to meet the farmers, and I want to learn, and I want to grow. And it's just a shift in how I spend my time and what I do. So these solutions are available. They're available for everybody. And I'm so grateful that I went from this place of pain to every day receiving more and more freedom from engaging in global destruction. And a tremendous amount of freedom in seeing a simple path in front of me. Again, this is available for all of us. Namaste.